I have started dozens of businesses in my life. Most have failed, and a couple have made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. From reselling Costco candy in high school to now running a YouTube agency that does over $20,000 per month, I'm putting the lessons that I've learned from all of this into this video. Because if you want your side hustle or business to get you to financial freedom, the first step is choosing the right one. The $141 billion man, Warren Buffett, said what boat you're in is more important than how hard you row. In my favorite business book, The Millionaire Fast Lane, these boats are called money trees, and there's 5 of them. And you can think of these as the categories of businesses that you can start. It's important that you don't think that all of the dozens of business ideas out there are just individual opportunities, but instead those opportunities fit into a couple of business systems, aka money trees. And so once you know the key to making that money tree grow, you can apply it to whatever specific business you choose to start. First is the rental money tree, and the key to this is ownership. Owning something that other people want access to and then renting it out for them. Second is the software money tree, and the key here is being able to build software that people want access to. And honestly, I have no experience in doing that, and most beginners don't either, so we're not going to include an example from this money tree. Third is the human resource money tree, and this is where most beginners can start very, very quickly and without a lot of risk, because the key is connecting different people and systems to deliver a service. We'll cover wholesaling real estate, high ticket sales, starting an agency, and even trading things like stocks and crypto. The fourth money tree is a content tree, and the key to success is attention, because you can monetize attention in a lot of different ways. So we'll talk about that, and I'll even reveal some of the income streams that I have on this YouTube channel. Fifth is a distribution money tree, and the key here is getting physical goods from one destination to another. So in that category, we'll talk about drop shipping. And for each of these businesses, we'll rate how much skill you need, how quickly you can start making money, how much money you could potentially make or potentially lose, whether that income is passive or active, and at the end of the day, does the business have potential to make you at least $10,000 per month? So first up, we have our rental money trees. You might pursue something like building a rental portfolio. Maybe you've heard of Airbnb arbitrage, where you get permission from a homeowner or an apartment complex to rent a unit from them and put it onto Airbnb. So you're making the promise to pay the rent every month, but what you bring in from the Airbnb on top of that is what you keep, and that's why it's called arbitrage. And then you've got something like a vending machine business, where you buy these vending machines and you put them into different high traffic areas, usually in other people's businesses, and you make money from whatever people buy from them. In terms of skill, these 3 rental businesses lie at opposite ends of the spectrum. You don't need a ton of skill to start a vending machine business. You do need to know a lot of information to get rental properties. Real estate is just much more complicated. If you're going to be responsible for real life human beings who are living in your properties, that's going to take things to another level. With arbitrage, because you don't actually own the property, you need less skill to get into that than you do with rental portfolios, but you're still managing people and going to have a lot more moving parts than the vending machine business. And because of that skill needed, I would definitely say that while you could start a vending machine business in less than 10 hours, you probably couldn't do the same with an arbitrage or a rental portfolio. The next thing you want to consider when you're choosing a business is the risk versus the reward. And we're going to think about, if we invested $2,500 into starting one of these businesses, how much return could we get on that in 60 days? And on the flip side, how likely are we to lose our $2,500? Again, we're looking at opposite ends of the spectrum. If you're trying to start a rental portfolio, $2,500 is probably not going to cut it, meaning that you'll need to find another strategy so you can make more money to then go invest in a rental portfolio. This is exactly what I did when I started this YouTube channel. I was wholesaling so that I could make enough money to then go buy rental properties. And if you want to see another video just about the different real estate strategies you could use to make $10,000, I will link that beneath this video. Airbnb arbitrage, on the other hand, will likely be a bit easier. Because you don't need to own the property, you'll need less cash to get started, and so you just need furniture to furnish the property, and you'll need the rent to be able to pay the actual owner. That's still a good amount of cash going out the door at the start though, so it's probably going to be a little bit of a slow burn as you're making money back each month. You probably won't recoup it all in just 60 days. With a vending machine though, it depends. You could get a super fancy vending machine like this, or you could get one that's a lot cheaper like this. How much money you make back and how quickly you're able to do it is going to depend on the price of the products inside your machine, how much traffic the areas your machine are in get, and if the places you put your machine in charge you to have it there. But with the vending machine, unless someone takes a bat to it, you're probably not going to lose it. Even if you decide that that location doesn't work out so well, you could just move the machine to another place. And so there's a relatively low amount of risk of losing the money that you put into it. Rental properties, on the other hand, they can become money pits. I posted this video recently about an absolute nightmare I had with the tenant who was digging up the sewage pipes in the front yard. And trust me, I lost money getting that fixed. Yes, you have rent that comes in and that's more than your mortgage, but because you own the property, whatever damage is done, you have to pay for in order to get that property back in living condition, and that can definitely put you in the red. And even with Airbnb arbitrage, sure, you don't own the house, but the homeowner is going to hold you responsible for any damage that your Airbnb guests cause. So there's still some risk there. The next things you'll want to consider are whether your money tree produces passive or active income, as well as how big that money tree could grow. I know that when I first got interested in financial freedom, passive income was like all the rage. How do I generate passive income? But I've kind of changed my perspective on this in that passive income isn't all of that important when you're at the beginning of your journey. This is when you need to grind and pursue massive income. You have the most time, you have the most energy, and you have the most willingness to work hard. And once you get that massive income, then you can use it to create passive income by setting up systems, by hiring other people to work for you, and all of the stuff that comes down the road. Plus, there are many opportunities out there that create tiny amounts of passive income, but what you really want is a money tree that can produce at least $10,000 per month. For all three of these money trees, they all generate relatively passive income. Yes, you're gonna have to deal with tenants. Yes, you're gonna have to restock your machine, but I would still put them in the passive category. Unfortunately though, the money that they're gonna produce every month is probably not gonna get you to that $10,000 a month or six-figure per year mark. If you think about it, the most expensive thing in your vending machine is probably going to be $5 max. With my rentals, I aim to make $300 per month, and with Airbnb arbitrage, maybe that bumps up to $500. All in all, you'd need to grow these to be really big businesses in order for them to make you six figures on their own. That doesn't mean you shouldn't pursue them. I have rental properties not to generate me a lot of cash, but instead to grow my net worth. That's why it's important that you know what type of money tree produces what type of income. That's the rental money tree. Next, let's talk about the human resource tree. And I know this is a boring name, but this is the place where most beginners should start, not just because it's simple, but because it's fast, it's not as risky, and it can still make you a lot of money. Again, a human resource money tree is just about connecting different people and providing a service. So wholesaling, finding someone who wants to sell a distressed property and connecting them to an investor who wants to buy a distressed property. That's the service. You could become a high-ticket sales rep where you talk to interested leads and you sell them the services of a business and you get paid for that. I recently drove past a truck with a guy on the back with a power washer, and he was going around the neighborhood cleaning out trash cans with soapy water. It's a local service business that is technically a human resource money tree. My YouTube agency, same thing. We find people who want to grow on YouTube, people who want to make YouTube content to grow their business. We connect them to editors and strategists, and we produce the content. And while I wasn't quite sure where to put this one, I'm going to put trading things like stocks and crypto also in the human resource money tree, because really you're always trading from one person to another and you're providing the service of either buying that stock or selling it. There are hundreds of business types that fit into the human resource money tree, but let's just go through these one by one. A lot of people look at wholesaling as a no money needed, no risk strategy, and I'll be honest, that's also what I thought when I first started, but there is still a moderate amount of skill needed. Sure, you're not the end buyer, so you're not the person who's going to go on to renovate the house or to rent it out yourself, but you are still involved in a transaction where there are hundreds of thousands of dollars in people's livelihood at play, and there are laws around wholesaling, so you do need to cross your T's and dot your I's to do this correctly, which means you're probably not going to be up and running and doing deals in less than 10 hours, and it'll probably take you more than 60 days to get back an initial investment. For myself, I think it took me around 70 something offers and maybe 6 to 8 months to actually get my first deal, which made me $8,500. You can absolutely lose all of the money that you put into wholesaling though. I have tried cold calling myself. I've tried hiring people to cold call for me, sending out direct mail. All of those things cost money. And if you don't get a deal out of it, you're just out of luck. And unlike actually owning the rental property, wholesaling is very active income. And depending on how much you do of it, you could reach six figures. A lot of people pursue that $10,000 per month, and it can absolutely be done. There's lots of people doing it, but that's typically thinking just about their revenue, how big is the deal coming in, and not necessarily how much did they spend to get that deal. So to get to $10,000 in profit, you'll probably have to move from being just a lone wholesaler to turning it into an actual company and business. business, which is harder to do. So it's kind of in the middle. If you want to get into high ticket sales, but you don't have any previous sales training, you are going to need to develop that skill. You'll need to read books or take trainings and practice a lot. So probably not starting this in 10 hours. But once you do get started, you could make a lot of money. It's called high ticket sales because for a business to be able to hire a sales rep to make sales for them, that has to mean that they are charging enough to have enough margin to pay you. So if you're selling something that's say $10,000 and you're getting paid a 25% commission, you'd make $2,500 for every single sale that you do. So while this is active income, you definitely have the potential to make 6 figures or more each year. And I know that sounds great, but because of that, there are some people out there who are trying to make it seem really, really great so that you buy their courses teaching you how to do it. So I will leave a link to this video so you know what to look out for if this is the route you want to go down. Now remember, you don't have to start an online business. There are tons of local service businesses out there that are raking in the money. And I actually think that if I'm ever going to buy another business, it's going to be a local service company, something like that trash can cleaning business or a landscaping business or a house cleaning business. The reason being, once you figure out what the need is and who needs to do it, the skill that you need to set up the business is relatively low. You can get it started really quickly, and because you'll know exactly how much you make for every house you clean or every garden you install, you'll be able to see really quickly how many jobs you need in order to make a return on your money. And it's pretty low risk because while you might buy something like a pressure washer in order to get the business started, that pressure washer then becomes an asset that you can use to make more money, whether it's for the actual job or if you quit the business, you can always sell it. So I really like local service businesses. They can be very passive because you can hire someone else to do the actual work, and they can absolutely grow past $10,000 per month. Now back to the online businesses, you have agencies. If you've heard of SMMA or AI automation, this is a new type of business model that a lot of people are getting into, including myself because I have a YouTube agency. And the skill needed to start one of these is not non-existent, but it's pretty simple, especially because most agency owners know from the beginning that they are not going to be the only person delivering services. When I started my YouTube agency, I knew that I was not going to be the video editor. And so I didn't have to worry about getting video editing skills in order to start the agency. All I really had to do was identify what is the service that my ideal client wants, and then who are the people needed in order to deliver that service. And at the start, that was just a video editor and a thumbnail designer. So I could start really quickly, bring money in quickly, and because my clients pay for the service ahead of time, but I only pay the editor after the work is done, I'm not at risk of losing money. My agency now is pretty passive. I usually work about 2 hours per day on it, and we've been consistently making more than $20,000 per month. And if you've already started a side hustle or a business and you want to take a quiz to see how well you're doing and if you have the potential to reach $10,000 per month, I'll link a free business assessment beneath this video. Now we have a business model that I don't really like. Yes, there are people out there making a lot of money trading individual stocks and doing crypto, but it takes a lot of time and skill. There's no telling how quickly you are going to start making money, and you have the potential to lose everything that you put in. And I've watched some vlogs of stock traders, and it is very, very active income, but it seems like some of them are raking it in, making a lot more than $10,000 per month. So again, lots of business types underneath the human resource money tree. Now, obviously content creation is something that I believe in, but recommending that someone start with a content money tree, I don't know that that's the route I would go. You don't need a lot of skill, time, or money in order to start making content. I just started on my phone in the corner of my bedroom, and I feel like my first videos were really, really bad, but you get better as you go. The reason I'm hesitant to recommend that people start a business solely based off of content is because there's no telling how quickly you're going to start making money. Some of the income streams that you could have are things like YouTube AdSense, which takes 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours in order to get monetized. For me, that took getting 30 plus videos up on my channel, so it takes some time. You could also get sponsors, but usually they want to see a certain size audience first. And you can do affiliates, which is when someone uses your link to sign up for a product, and when they pay for it, you get a kickback. And these are great and they can build up over time, but each affiliate is only going to be worth like $5 to maybe $20. But there is a faster way to make money with content, and that's by combining it with another money tree. So for example, if I post a YouTube video and somebody watches that and decides that they want to work with me to help them grow their own channel, then my content has helped me make a sale in my agency. This is why content works best when it's combined with another income stream, and then the content income streams are just icing on the cake. Content is very active though. It takes a lot of time to film and produce, but if done right and in certain niches, you can absolutely make more than $10,000 per month. If you've been on YouTube for a while, you probably remember the explosion of dropshipping content back before COVID, and that's because people were discovering the wonders of a distribution money tree. Dropshipping versus having an Amazon or a Shopify store can all be slightly different depending on how you do it, but the idea is, can you profitably sell physical goods and distribute them to the buyer? I looked into it back then, and it seems like it could be pretty complex and take a bit of time to get it right, especially post-COVID when supply chains are still kind of messed up. So you're probably looking at more than 60 days to start making money. But one of the reasons that people like dropshipping is because the customer pays for the item before you actually pay the supplier. And so you're not really at risk of losing that money. But if you have something like an Amazon store where you're actually buying the inventory before you sell it, then you do have more risk, because in that case, you're spending money before you make it. And so you do have more risk. But there are a lot of people grinding away and building out these distribution networks and making a ton of money with them. Remember, you can take that free assessment to see where your business is at. And if you want to know how you go from business idea to actually making money and going through the 3 levels of financial freedom, you can watch this video right here next.